Welcome to the Commission Mission, where we fuel your passion for greatness in entrepreneurship, sales, business, and life. Success demands you become smarter, quicker, and wiser than those competing for your opportunities. It's time to break free from the chains of your comfort zone and embrace uncertainty. We weren't designed for safety, we were built for growth. Teddy Roosevelt tells us the credit belongs to who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid hearts who knew neither victory nor defeat.
Hey, welcome to the Commission Mission. My name is Micah Henderson.
And I'm Eric Gerace.
And today we have two great friends of mine, Erica and Jeremy Harrison. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being here.
I've been wanting to have this conversation with you guys for years. Over the years, we've worked with each other. I've worked with your business, you've worked with mine, and throughout becoming friends, we've talked about life. And I think your story is so relatable to so many people who are trying to achieve all they're trying to live their best lives and do something different.
Yeah.
So it's so relatable because you started off just like most of us, not having it all figured out, right?
Yeah.
There was
Still don't have it all figured out.
there was no silver spoon to be found anywhere.
Yeah.
But at some point, you started getting it together,
Right.
and you kept getting it together, and you kept figuring out, you kept getting better, and there's a lot of people out there watching this that are just getting started on that journey, and I want them to hear something that they may have heard before, but in a different way that's going to resonate, it's going to click with them, and keep them going down that path.
Yeah.
So share a little bit of the start of everything, but then we could talk about specific subjects, specific little tricks of the trade that have helped you, that you wish you would have known in the beginning, or years earlier.
Yeah.
So tell everybody all about it.
We started our business in 2014, and we just really built it from the ground up. We started with being married with one vehicle, a little minivan, and 4 children. And so we shared that vehicle, and we had actually had a nicer car first, but we sold that nicer car that I had kind of worked my way up in my career to get, and we sold it and bought the minivan and used the difference from selling that car to invest in our business. So we kind of had to look around, where were funds available to start our business, and there were none.
Yeah.
So that vehicle that was paid off was the first thing to go. So that's what we did, and that was our first little bit to invest into the business, and then we just started growing from there. I worked a corporate job while Jeremy started just building the construction company.
Yeah, I just want to emphasize, because not all the decisions that we make when we're starting a business are real easy. When you have 4 kids.
Yeah.
How long did you work to get that car of your dreams, right?
Yeah.
And now you're like, oh my God, I'm going to sell this thing and risk it on this new adventure. And so, but when you believe in it, and one of the first things I noticed, we're on location in their office right now, and one of the first things I noticed is it kind of reminded my house. And at first, I almost made fun of my wife for having these messages and these notes everywhere, like I call them labels. Why are you labeling everything? And then I realized it's not a label; it was actually like a reminder.
Yeah.
And your walls are covered with reminders. I love this one behind us. That's all the shows up here. And it's just a constant reminder to people that it's not easy starting out. Not everyone. How many silver spoons did you have handed to you when you started, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Me either. So. And then to make a decision like that when you did to start out with kids, it's not easy.
Yeah, so the main thing that contributed to that, one thing to note is whenever we sold that car, it's not like we got a bunch of money whenever we sold it. You know what I mean? We got enough to buy the minivan and then had like $1,500 left over, maybe $2,000. But it's like, you don't need a lot. You just need action.
Yeah.
Right? In our industry, what it takes is getting an opportunity. Once you get that one opportunity, then you market that opportunity. Nothing about it has been easy. Shit, it's still not easy to today. You know what I mean? We're still learning and growing, but one of the best things is whenever you're learning, you're able to continue to move forward. Now, if you lose and you get your ass kicked and then you stop, everything you've done was for nothing. But if you keep going, boom, you get your ass kicked. Okay, great. What happened? How did that happen to us?
Right.
Boom, evaluate it, duplicate it and fix the errors where you messed up. Now you're gonna make another mistake. You fix that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you just that's one of the best things that I think we do is continue to move forward, understand that it's part of the process, and then always take it as a lesson.
Yeah.
And then do it again quickly.
That advice was life changing for me starting out as an entrepreneur, because when you have the mindset of, like you said, you just keep going. It's that next
Yes.
step.
Yeah.
It's the story that I was taught was 3 feet from gold. I don't know if you know that story.
The guy where he's mining for diamonds. That's it. That literally
sold off everything, and then the next guy that bought the land only had to dig 3 feet in
Yeah.
mother load.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
it's not quitting, it's giving up, it's that constant. I love what you said about the taking action, you know,
Yeah.
because it's reminding yourself, because a lot of times when we have a failure, we look at it like, oh, I did all this work, I put all this up, and then I got this result, I failed. But when you reframe that failure as a learning
Yeah.
opportunity,
Yeah.
what do we do? How do we improve?
Yeah.
It completely takes the pressure, it relieves you of the pains of starting out. You know?
Absolutely. You have to fail forward. Fail forward. You're going to fail as long as you're moving, right? So the whole key is you want to be sure that you're not afraid to fail, because you will. And it's people who have the fear of failure that just stay stagnant because they're not moving. They're too afraid to fail. So they're like, oh gosh, that's too scary. I don't want to risk it and embarrass myself. And then people who said I couldn't do it or told me I shouldn't, then they'll be right. They'll only be right if you let that failure stop you.
Well,
So we fail forward. We just keep moving. And then every time we get our ass kicked on something major, the conversation is always, well, we learned a lot. We didn't lose because we learned a lot. And it's when you fail to learn from the failure that you really kind of miss out on the silver lining.
you know, and one of the points that I would like to really drive home, and one of the things that we drive home with our people is, if you don't do shit, you are literally failing.
Yeah.
So
to avoid the failure by
to
not
avoid
doing
the
it,
failure,
and you're
you're
still failing.
Yeah, so it's like,
Yeah.
okay, what's the contrary? You didn't take action, so now you have what do they say, the richest place in the world is the graveyard. That's where all the dreams go and die. And it's true, because everybody goes through life and they're like, oh, we still get it. Well, what's your retirement?
Right.
The fuck is retirement?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I know you're in finance,
Yeah.
and it probably isn't like right up your
Well,
alley.
I'm glad you asked.
Retirement starts now.
Well, and that's the thing, is like, what does that mean? You see people that work their whole life and then they die. And then what happens?
Yeah.
You know, and I do believe that you should have fail safes. You should not live your life like we do 100% of the time. We could definitely learn and improve, because we are very high risk, like extremely high risk, at all times. It is constantly, everything is on the line.
Living on the seat of your pants.
We put ourselves in
100%.
positions to where we have no choice but to make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, plan A.
And when you put yourself in that position, it forces you to make it. There is no will try or, okay, well, if it doesn't work out, no, it has to. Because if it doesn't, we'll lose everything. There is no...
Try. Are you quoting Yoda right now? I feel like...
I wasn't, it must just be ingrained from childhood.
So
I
I
if you put yourself in that position,
So-
you have to push.
I love it. Just a couple thoughts I want to get out before we get back to the timeline of chronological order of your story and how you got here.
Yeah.
That's my job, reeling it back in. But just a couple thoughts is how I've helped some folks that work with me that deal with anxiety.
Yeah.
By saying, hey, if a lot of that you'll get over it once you get started.
Yeah.
It's paralysis by analysis. You
Yep.
got so much going on. Like, hey, let's prioritize. What's the next smartest thing you need to be doing?
Yeah.
And you know that you're giving it your all to accomplish this goal. And a lot of that anxiety fades away because you're taking action. But going back to the story, as far as like I've worked a corporate job, and I knew from the second one, this was no way that I'm going to achieve what I want to achieve in life. This isn't. I'm not going to achieve the what I wanted by working this 9 to 5, clocking in and out, having a boss over my shoulder telling me about the mandatory meeting in the forum on Friday. Was there a certain point for you that you're like, this sucks, I'm going to, double down with Jeremy, I'm going to, support, or there was always that end in mind?
So when I was very, very young, I knew I was going to run my own company. And I remember having conversations with my father, who was a computer graphics engineer and did very well for himself. And he always said, go to college, you can do this or that, you don't want to have to worry about payroll taxes and this and that. It's a lot running a business. And he was right. It's a lot running a business. So I always innately knew that I was going to run my own business. But working in my corporate job, the last job I had prior to retiring, if you will, and coming to run our business, was a fantastic company. And I moved my way up very, very quickly. And I knew that if I stayed there, I would be the top leader in just a matter of a few years.
And a lifer.
Whether or not everybody else knew that. Yeah, absolutely. So for me, having that job, I knew I could still, because it was that kind of 8 to 5 thing. And of course, I put in time outside of that, which is part of the reason why you learn and grow faster than the people around you. But that it still left me time to be able to build something if I wanted to. The turning point for me, even knowing that I was going to have my own business, the turning point was really when we hit a point where he needed more support than just the couple hours or the weekends, the couple hours at night or the weekends that I could get him. He had gotten the business to a point where I could no longer be part-time and we could still grow and scale.
So you were working your 9 to 5, getting off, doing what you can to add some support to Jeremy's business, and we all know parenting is a full-time job.
Yeah,
That's digging deep, and that's what you have to do to bridge the gap in between. Hey, I can pay my bills, even though it's not my ideal job, that I want for my life. But it's going to pay the bills. But yeah, you got to dig deep. It's not clocking out and just let your mind go numb watching sitcoms or something.
No.
That's how you become. That's average. You got to become.
It's sub-average, and the thing is,
did
yeah, you did. Good job. But there's so much time for that later in life.
Yeah.
If you want to sit around and chill out, don't do it while you can still get up and move around. There will probably be a time in your life where you can't really get up and be so mobile. Sit on your ass when you have to sit on your ass.
Sometimes
save
that
for
comes
later.
before you want it to. Going back to put my normal hat on, that sometimes your health dictates when you're going to retire or when you're going to stop moving. So yeah, just to your point, while you can, get out there, and move, make something happen.
So I had a guy tell me one time, I went to a conference and I didn't even really want to be there because I didn't believe in that shit at the time. So
very first one.
There's a couple things that I'd like to touch on there. First, anxiety comes 100% from a lack of doing.
Yes.
Once you do, anxiety dissipates because now you're in action. If you're pissed off and you go for a run, you literally can't be pissed off and run at the same time. They don't go hand in hand. And so that's why you take action, all that disappears, right? So while I don't even know that it's anxiety. I think anxiety is like this fabricated thing that we buy into. Now, for some people, it is real because of the lack of action and they want to chase their dreams. However, the reality of the situation is they have kids, they have a job, they have a husband, they have a mortgage, they have all these things that dictate it. Well, this going back to the series of events, whenever we sold that, I got out of prison 12 years ago. So whenever I got out of prison, I was like, okay, that sucks. I'm a product of the streets. I've never had a corporate job in my life, like ever. apparently whenever you go into interview at a corporate job and you're telling them that you want to replace them, you know, they're like, I'm coming to the head.
Yeah.
They don't like that shit, right? So I never was able to be hired, but it worked out in my favor. It goes back to everything happens for a reason.
That's right.
So it's not just one thing that happens to us. Every bad thing, me ending up in prison was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Tell me about that.
Literally. So I used to run the streets a lot. We'll leave it at that. I was very good at what I did, and I had a lot of fun, okay? It landed me in prison because drinking and driving, they don't really mix together. You shouldn't do that. And so whenever I was down, I had my first time in my life I was able to think. I was removed from the outside world. Well, I had the worst deja vu, or the most clarity in deja vu that I've ever had in my entire life. I always believe deja vu is you're in the right place at the right time. Okay, if I'm in the right place at the right time, why am I sitting in this prison with all these real convicts? You know what I mean? Like I was a I guess you could call me
He wasn't a violent offender as far as he wasn't in there for.
Yeah.
but I didn't fuck around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it is what it is, right? And so then I really had to think, like, why am I here?
Yeah.
What is this for? And so whenever we did that, it was very much a process. It was part of the process. It's what pulled me out of the streets. And so whenever I did that, we got out and we're like, okay, well, what's next? You know, worked a job, wasn't making shit, ended up quitting or getting fired. I don't know exactly how it shook out. We took the leap of faith. We said, okay, great. We're going to make this happen. And by taking that action, losing the whole time, literally all the way up until this year we're like, fuck that. Like, we've got to start winning. You know what I mean? And
I've known y'all for years, and never once have I ever thought, oh yeah, those two, they're losing. Couple losers over there.
Lazy.
Yeah. You killed it from the second I met you guys.
Yeah.
For I don't know.
well, it's because where your attention goes,
Yeah.
or what you focus on, your attention goes.
Yeah.
Right? And so if I focus 100% on failure, now I'm actually in real time creating that issue. So whenever we're thinking about the bad possibilities, so most of our thoughts in current time.
Worry is praying for what you don't want to happen.
Yeah, and by doing that, you're actually
That's good.
manifesting.
That's
that.
really good. You're creating
You're literally manifesting these things that you don't want to happen, because here's the thing about humans. We want to be right. And so even if it's
It's a
our own
negative
detriment,
thing. Yeah.
because we're so certain that this is going to happen, now we create it and we take those
It's like
steps.
self-defeating.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
like a self-fulfilling prophecy that is just hurting you.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So tell me how hard it would have been if you didn't have Erica holding it down when you got out, when you were getting started. If you didn't have an Erica, or if you didn't have someone supporting you, or if they weren't just neutral, but if they were actually dragging you down, being negative, saying, what are you doing? You're wasting your time.
Yeah. So I got out, and everybody was trying to pull me right back into what I was doing, right? And I was like, okay, well, you guys weren't there for me while I was gone. My wife was, and so it was like, okay, you people aren't in my corner. You're supposed to be my friend,
Yeah.
but if you know that I'm trying to get out of the streets,
Yeah.
and you know that I'm trying to quit drinking, and
Yeah.
you know, come on, just have a beer.
My dad
Right?
calls them good time friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very real. And so, and even a spouse,
Yeah.
if she wouldn't have been standing there by my side and pushing me, quite literally, I would either probably be dead or in jail. Because whenever I went in, like, I wasn't in the best place. Like, I wasn't involved in the best circles. I was always a good, solid human, but I was doing dumb shit, all quite literally, day in and day out. From the time I woke up to the time I went to sleep, I was just making bad decisions. So whenever I got out, I said, okay, I evaluated while I was gone. I said, what got me here? It wasn't any big event that put me there. It was a compound of small situations and small things that put me in prison.
And in that evaluation, you didn't lie to yourself. You were completely honest with
For
yourself.
sure.
And
You can bullshit yourself, but you really know the truth at the
right.
end of the day.
Yeah, but not lying to yourself. The worst thing you can do is lie to yourself, especially sitting in a cell reevaluating your life.
Yeah.
I think I did a good job of reminding him whose fault it was.
For sure. Well, and here's the
You
other
have the right to, yeah.
You know, whenever I went in, technically, that was the first time in my life, whenever I got that fourth DWI, that was the first time in my life that I ever decided to do the right thing. Like, what do I remind you? The very first time in my entire life, at like 24, 25 years old, that I decided I was going to do the right thing. By going, I still drove to get the DD, right? But I had the DD, one of my good buddies, he was driving and we were backing out and they stopped us, arrested me, found $10,000 cash in the glove box and was like, oh, what's this for? Drug money. I said, that ain't drug money, man. It's more rent money. You know, like, what kind of house you live in? You look like it's drug money.
Yeah.
And so the first portion of that, I was a victim.
Yeah.
I didn't do this, it wasn't me, you know, blah, 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 blah. Well, at the end of the day, whenever I had the deja vu. And I was like, okay.
In prison.
In prison.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is a year and a half later. I got pulled over. We'll go there. But the series of events that took place that put me there was 100% right where I was supposed to be. And so then whenever I got out and not having toxic people around you, like my mother, I've had to have conversations with. My father, I've had to have conversations with. My brothers, I've had to have conversations with because I don't want to cut my family off.
But it's not aligning with the direction.
Right. And
we spend our whole lives training people how to treat us.
Yeah.
And we have a thermostat of what we allow people to do. They can only treat us so good and they can only treat us so bad. And we only allow them to be, and then we change.
Yeah.
We go through a life-altering experience and then we change. And they're trying to put us back in the box that we've trained them how to where we want to be.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you need to be over here. And we're like, no, we're over here now.
Yeah.
And so we're retraining them. And so it's easier. That's why a lot of times when you go through something like this, it's easier just to separate and find a new group of friends.
Yeah.
Like you said, you don't want to cut off family, right?
Right.
You love them, so you have to have these conversations. Hey, I'm not that person anymore.
Yep.
That's not me anymore. Don't do that anymore.
100%. And you also, you know, you think about it, you don't have to deal with anybody's shit. I always say, people are like, my kids the other day were like, oh, Dad, how many friends do you have? I'm like, I would be a terrible friend if I'm not helping you make money. Like, if I'm not making you money, or you're not helping me, we're not helping each other move forward, what the fuck are we doing? Like, quite literally, that is no friend. If you're just keeping each other stagnant and nobody's able to grow, it's irrelevant. So it's not a friendship. It's this facade of what we create friendships to be. A lot of people are still stuck in high school.
Yeah.
Oh, the way things used to be.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons we moved. I never, ever, I could go the rest of my life without somebody telling my kids, oh, your dad.
Yeah.
Because I was
anybody I know is under specific orders. You're not gonna bring that. Until my youngest is out of high school, nobody can do that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't come from anything.
Mike is a saint.
Yeah.
There he is. Smelling what I'm stepping in. So you know, once we've gotten to the point where you're all in. You've been all in. The business is going, and you're still back in Missouri.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah, so to go back to the car point, right? So we sold the car, we went through that, we took that leap of faith. Now we only had one car that was a minivan doing remodel work. Okay.
So it had a trailer hitch.
Oh, fuck yeah. It had a trailer hitch, seats folded down, everything. But I would have to leave and drop her off at work early.
Yeah.
And drop the kids off at daycare.
And then get after it.
Yeah, and people were like, well, why are you guys doing this? Her job was paying for daycare, and she had a good job, but we had 4 kids. You know what I mean?
That's
Yeah, I worked
That
to
was
pay
like
for
another
daycare.
mortgage payment.
Yeah, that was it.
It was
So
more
my
than
job
just
covered
that.
the mortgage and daycare. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And so people were like, well, why are you doing this? Well, because my kids are going to grow up one day, and then that money's going to be in my pocket.
All right.
Okay, so I have to start now. If I wait 5 years to start until the time is right, the time's never right.
Time's never right.
It's never, ever.
Yeah.
You're not going to find a president that changes the time. You're not going to find a congressman. You're not going to find some magic little pony.
Get started. And the opposite of that is the paralysis by analysis. Wait until things are perfect.
Yeah.
But just getting started and going back to, the richest place is a graveyard.
Yeah.
And going back, but tying that with the idea of doing.
Yeah.
That how many ideas, maybe great ideas, are in that graveyard. But the difference was the doers that actually got out and doing stuff.
I used to use a line with my coaching students is the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now.
Right now.
You know?
I'm pretty sure you got that from me. I think it's a African proverb. I invented it. So now you guys are actually working together. Well, first, before we get into more day-to-day operations, what brought you to Florida? What decision?
So I'm a 9th grade dropout. Toughest 3 years of high school, 9th grade. All right. So let's get. So I had to have her proofread all of my emails. I had to have her proofread all of my estimates. I had to have her make sure that because you don't want someone incompetent, whether he knows what he's doing or not.
Yeah.
You know, like so.
There's no AI.
Yeah. There was no AI at this time. Now I can formulate an email. Right.
Barely emails.
Yeah. And so, well, not with ChatGPT, but I use ChatGPT a lot. However, I can now write an email that actually sounds like a competent person because she would proofread my shit, and then I would go through, read what she did, pay attention, and then ask questions. That's the other thing. People don't want to ask questions because they don't want to sound stupid. You sound and look stupid whenever you move forward with lack of information.
Yeah, he'd write the email and then, or the estimate or the contract or whatever, and then he'd give it to, hey, I got this stuff for you to proof tonight. Every night I was proofing, and then once I would proof it, we would sit down together and I would show him all the things that I changed and then teach him why I changed them. Grammar, spelling, all of it, yeah.
I have a professor that he said there's no such thing as a stupid question, just stupid people that don't ask questions.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But it sounds like you were committed to the result. And I was reading a few of the sayings that you have down there about being aligned, about results driven, and but it sounds like you were committed to the result of the life that you wanted to live, and it goes beyond your own. Not conceit. What's the word I'm thinking of? But you weren't worried about what anybody thought about you. I'm going to ask a stupid question because I need to know this. I'm not worried about what someone else is going to think of me, especially your partner in life. Who's not going to judge you. I'm not worried about really. I just need the result. And that's how I live my life. And that's how I run my business. I'm not worried about how someone's going to judge me. That's why I can speak in front of 1,000 people. I'm up here to deliver a message. My aim is genuinely to help you.
Yes.
And I know my heart's in the right place. And if you are going to judge me harshly, then I ain't for you.
Yeah.
And the few people who do judge me, it is only for constructive purposes.
Yeah.
Just to say, hey, you could have done this better. Hey, and I'm going to accept it. In the right way.
So. Judgment's not a bad thing. It's only a bad thing whenever they're not helping you move forward.
Right.
So like if somebody's sitting there and they're judging you, do you really want that person in your corner anyways?
Right. No.
And regardless of anything,
Yeah.
your wife, like my kids, we're rewriting our lineage, our generations to come.
Mm-hmm.
We are actively in the middle of it. There's a guy, I forget his name, but he said the one shows up. So whenever that one shows up, the one always shows up in the family. Be the one. And so that one changes how everything moves forward. Mm-hmm. And so it's not easy.
Yeah.
But it's in my life and in our life, it's a non-negotiable.
But challenge accepted.
Yeah.
But I'm not worried about those people's opinion anyway. The only opinions I'm really worried about is some family and some really close friends. And I say some family because there's some family, we're just not on the same page, but some family and some really close friends that I actually care about your opinion. Otherwise, it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
You have to be committed to the end goal. Mm-hmm. And so just as we have this here, we have in another room here in the office, we have one that says, hold the vision, trust the process. And when you can keep your eye on the vision, all the other stuff that comes in the way between here and there, it's just a temporary moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you move your vision from your end goal and you start focusing people's opinions, this little problem, the screw up, when you start focusing other places, that's when you're lost. That's when you start trailing. That's when you end up somewhere totally different from
We
where
mentioned
you're
earlier where your
supposed to go.
focus goes, the energy flows.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
And it's very real.
Yeah.
And my
Absolutely.
mother-in-law actually said to me a couple of years ago whenever she was down here, she was out with us and we were wandering around running errands. And she's like, does everybody give you something for free? And I was like, fuck, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, we had
I
been
never-
like 3 places that day,
Yeah.
and we had gotten something free at each place. And she finally asked, "Do you guys get free stuff everywhere you go?" And we had never even noticed it before. And we kind of looked at each other and thought for a second, and yeah, actually,
And then the rest of the
they do.
day.
And, yeah, the rest of the day it continued. And then our kids, even the other day, they have been asking us for the last few weeks, "Why are we so special? Why are we so special? Why are we so special? Why are we so special? We're just normal like everyone else." And finally we dug into it a little bit more. Well, what makes you think we're special? Well, everyone's always making special rules for us, and everyone's always like thinking we're such a big deal when we show up places, and we're always getting stuff for free and this and that. And it's just the way you treat people and the energy you put out.
You hand out your energy. Like you have a ball of energy, and each place you go, you can either let the person's negative energy at the cash register, wherever, reduce that ball of energy, or you can take some of your energy and give it to them. By giving away, you're actually increasing.
Yeah.
So
You're training people how to treat you. And
100%. And so every interaction that we have with people, regardless of their state, if I'm somewhere to be serviced and I ask you how your day is and you don't respond to me,
Yeah.
I will not move forward until you tell me.
Yeah.
I was on a phone call.
That's the next step.
I called a local place that I go all the time. I said, "Hey, how are you? How can I help you?" I said, I guess I was on speakerphone. I said, "How are you?"
Yeah.
And then the guy was like, "Can you hear me?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing?" And they just hung up. Well, whenever I called back, I said, "How you doing today?" And then the guy in the background was like, "Dude, that's Adrian's dad. He is not going to move forward until you acknowledge him." Like, and the dude took the phone. He's like, "What's up, man? How you doing today?" You know what I mean? But it's you build that in people, and then whenever they see you, now they light up because they remember the energy that you handed them.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so,
guess what they're going to do with that energy?
they're gonna.
Whether they realize it or not, they're going to let that trickle off somewhere else.
So how I
When we talk about making the world a better place, it's not
You've trained that
solving
one guy
the-
how to. If you saw what was happening, you've trained the one gentleman on how to treat you.
Yeah.
And then he started training the other gentleman on how to treat you.
yes,
I really like that.
So you should. The other people are like, "Oh no."
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the other guy on the
infectious,
phone. It's like, no, I've already been trained. Trust me.
But I mean, the
It
next
works like
person who called, there's a good chance
Yeah.
that he said, "Hey, how you doing today?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And so when we talk about solving the world problems and making the world a better place, it's not that you have to be able to solve world hunger or save every single child from abuse, which those would be freaking amazing if we could do those things. But when you talk about making the world a better place, it's just making your
right.
world a better place.
Yeah, the
And
life
then
of
it's like the rock in the pond.
Yeah.
It will ripple out.
Yeah.
I said the life of an entrepreneur is eating an elephant one bite at a time.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I really like your take on the ball of energy and kind of the other perspective. That this is the way I've always kind of thought about it is the emotion that people associate with me. I definitely don't want people thinking, when they think of me, oh, that asshole,
Yeah.
or he's a jerk, because that is going to push everybody away.
Yeah.
When I want someone thinking about me and through that my business, I want a good feeling. I want the warm and fuzzy feeling. I want
Yeah.
people excited and be like, oh man, whether it is something small, something chit chat, or hey, I want to help guide you in your life.
Yeah.
I want someone associating a good feeling with me. So now that the business is going, I want to talk about how you guys have your two different roles, your two different lanes that you do,
Yeah.
and how you collaborate and solve things together, and then at the end of the day, how you have your family. That's its own little entity.
Yeah. Work-life balance is bullshit. and there is quite literally no thing. Now, if you try to do that, what you're doing is you're teaching your generations to come that it's okay to stop at 5 or 6 o'clock. Even though I have things that have to be done,
Important.
it's okay that I stop. Now, do you want to put your family on the back burner? No, your business is a family too. And so, do you want to put that on the back burner?
Your family is a business.
Your family is a business. Yeah, I mean, so, but your business is a baby. Like, so would you just not feed your baby if it was fucking hungry? No, you feed the baby.
After a certain time.
Yeah.
Sorry, kid.
Yeah.
I nursed you 4 hours ago.
7 o'clock, man.
Gotta
You're
wait
hit,
till tomorrow.
you know? But, and so what we do specifically is we blend those two. We also homeschool. So it's not like our kids are 100% immersed.
So it's just one big entity. It's not
That's
two.
right.
It's not two separate
No,
things.
That's
no,
right.
it's that two separate things is bullshit.
I mean, the 13-year-old we brought with us today woke up at 5 a.m. to come here with us today.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a kids' room below us.
He's knocking on the door.
kids' room is downstairs. Yeah.
And that also allows our office to bring their kids whenever they need to.
Yeah.
And so, I'm like, who the fuck is it? You know, who's at my door?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why are they knocking? It's like, hey, you guys up? Like, go back to bed, man. We got 30 minutes.
This morning, the
Yeah.
13-year-old.
Yeah, and so, but what that does is you're training your kids, just like you're training the rest of the world, how to treat and how to interact and how to get things done. We only set this up, 24 hours ago?
Not even. No.
Not even.
This interview,
I think I spoke to you around 7 o'clock last
Yeah.
night.
Yeah, I was on a boat yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was under the impression we were scheduling this for April 12th, and then it happened within 12 hours. So
Yeah.
By the time I was talking to here I am.
Well, and that's part of the thing is you have to be able to pivot. So what do you do? What are you willing to give up? Like me personally, the stress of not being able to pay our bills was much greater than the stress of failure and the stress of I don't know how to do this, I have to move forward. But the fact that I've had my lights shut off, or we've had our lights shut off, I had my shit all fucked up whenever we weren't together, so find yourself a good lady. But but that stress way outweighed the action. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Stress of
okay,
the action.
now whenever my lights get shut off, it's not, I'm like, oh shit, I forget to pay the bill.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not, I can't pay the bill.
Yeah.
Did I forget?
No, because you're going to get out there and you're going to make it happen because you're not worried about that as much as what happens if you don't.
Yeah.
So you're more hands-on in the field of everything construction. You're
Answering your last question.
You're holding down the office. You're staying
Yeah.
organized. You're keeping this flowing, and that symbiotic work relationship. You're both hands-on with the kids.
Is that a word?
Symbiotic! We just had this conversation.
Right?
1 o'clock in the morning.
One person was saying yin and yang. The other person was saying symbiotic. The same thing.
Yeah.
Are we sure that's a
It's
word?
a word. We had this
Somebody look that
conversation
up.
at 1 o'clock in the morning, laying in bed. I said the word. Yeah, it was funny. So
And
that's
that's the
great.
other thing. We were
Yeah.
up at 1 o'clock last night and back up again at 5:30 this morning.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to sleep. Okay, great.
Listen though, we don't always do that. We're huge advocates for taking care of your
Yourself.
mind and your body, right? You have to be drinking water, you have to be eating healthy foods and plenty of protein, and you have to be getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night.
Yeah.
This whole, sleep is for the weary, and you can sleep when you're done. Even if you function well, the people who sleep 5 to 6 hours a night, I function well, you do. But your body is not restoring itself. So if you feel okay, fine, but you're aging faster, whether you recognize it or not, and you're cognitively not as there as you would be if you were sleeping 7, 8 hours a night. You just don't notice it because you've been running on a deficit for so long you think you're doing well.
Plus, that goes right into like the whole idea of sharpening the saw. What book? 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But sharpening the saw. That's why, I'm not going to get into the whole story, but taking time to, take a break, reset, and get back with more energy and more efficiency and more effective, more focus, sharpening the saw. But, no, you guys work better together, even as a relationship, but also on top of that with work, and it's something that you have to notice isn't common. How often are you guys ever at? I don't know if you guys ever go to like chamber things anymore, or any networking stuff.
We're networking stuff all the time.
But most of the time, there's a business owner.
Right.
But seldom is there a business owner and the spouse.
Yeah.
Two business owners that are married, yeah.
Yeah, right. Or any combination thereof. And so, what do you think people are missing to bring that together? Because I think if everybody was on the same page, that business would be so much more would thrive so much more.
Oh my gosh, because then you have two people who are working for the same common goal. And it used to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100 years ago, every family had their own business. Whether it was eggs or vegetables or
The farm, yeah.
the barber shop, right? Every family was a family unit that had one goal in mind for their income, and they all worked together. The husband, the wife, and the children all ran these businesses together. It was when money started becoming a factor and certain individuals started realizing that they could capitalize on that, and so they decided to create the workforce, send them into work, create an educational system where they could train the children to be employees, raise the financial stress enough to where mom now had to leave the home, and now it's a perfect scenario for them to just create a bunch of bodies moving around, funding their infrastructure.
That whole subject is going to be the sequel, that episode is going to be long form because we could talk for a while on that. It's like, oh, but the status quo being the status quo, what are those couples missing that needs to click in their head to get them on the same page so that they can thrive like
So
you guys?
the first step is you have to find a common reality. You have to find a common reality. And even if the mom and dad have different jobs, they have to find their end goal.
That's
What does this
insane.
look like? If we're running different jobs, whatever, we're running different jobs, we're running the same job, but we have to find a common goal. And then that creates a common reality for them. And when you have a shared reality with someone, you can then start working towards that reality, right? So the first thing we had to do was decide, what's our goal with this business? What are we trying to accomplish?
And the brain power is exponential when you can
Oh my
think
gosh.
like that. It's not just like 1 + 1.
No, because then you're problem solving for that end goal instead of just surviving for today. The second thing that really, really helped us, because this hasn't been an easy thing for us, you know, when people think, oh, they're just this fancy, you know, they're just special, we could never do that. If you could see, if we had a camera rolling on our lives and our relationship, you would recognize we were one of the most dysfunctional relationships you've probably seen outside of TV. And even then, I think we'd rank right up in the top 2.
Yeah, we have them bitches beat for sure.
So it's not that it was easy and more special. It's that we had a common goal, and even all the things that came into the fights and the anger and the this and the misunderstanding and the miscommunication, we were focused on the end goal and
Trust the process.
stop
Yeah.
thinking about this argument and this thing, learn from it. How do we get here and move on? But the shared reality, and then the second thing is you have to have an understanding of what your roles are.
Yeah.
And this is at home and this is in the business. When people don't have real conversations and sit down and write out, here are the responsibilities in our life, and here's which one of us is responsible for that responsibility. We just move forward in family units, knowing all this stuff has to be done, and then just whoever gets to it first gets to it first. And then it's not getting done. And then the couples are frustrated with each other because the other one didn't do it. But there was no clear understanding of whose responsibility that was. And so for us, we recognized that right away in the business. We were stepping on each other's toes. He was getting into my shit. I was getting into his, and then we're getting frustrated. Like, whoa, why did you direct that person to do that thing? I just directed them to do something different. We spent years doing this. Years, literally, before we realized we're in each other's fucking lanes. We have not clearly defined our lanes. And we have found that not only is that necessary in business, you're responsible for A, B, C, and I'm responsible for X, Y, Z. And they are both working together to get towards our common reality and our shared goal. Do the
That's
same
good.
thing in your home.
Man, that's good.
Who's responsible for making sure the kids get to bed on time?
Yeah.
Not both of you.
Yeah.
Not both of you, because then what happens is you both end up frustrated with the other person because you're up late because the kids didn't get to bed on time. Who's responsible for making sure they get their hair done in the morning before they go to school? Is it both of you? Stop. Because you're both wasting time.
Definitely.
You need your responsibility. Like he makes the
They
coffee.
always just get the hairdos.
You know, Jeremy makes the coffee. He knows every morning he's making coffee.
He wakes up thinking about it.
Yeah.
He does. He does.
Literally,
And
I was thinking about this morning in the shower, like, shit, I wonder how that coffee.
But guess what I don't have to do? Think about the coffee.
Yeah.
I just know my coffee will be there for me. And there are things he does not have to worry about because he knows that's just going to be taken care of. So it's really important that we have these conversations, get away from this whole idea that it's no one's responsibility and we both play a role in it.
There you go.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop. Because
So
now you
that's-
have extra thoughts on your mind, shit's not getting done, you're frustrated. And even when you have the roles, it's okay to say, I know this dinner, I do the cooking. But if I get a point where there's a night and I'm like, babe, I just can't cook tonight, then I'll let him know I'm at a point where I can't cook, and he'll say, okay. And he'll step up and either cook or find a solution for dinner for us. So it's not that the other person doesn't help out when you say, I need a lifeline.
Yeah.
Right? But
But
he
that's the
never
exception.
is worried about the next meal.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to cross his mind
Yeah.
if the kids are going to be fed and what they're going to eat, right?
So that's so good, and I wanted to also kind of get into more nitty gritty details of what you found that helps your business roll, maybe tools you use or strategies. You've helped me with Monday.com, for example, and I still use that. But being the fact that we're all doers here, we all have stuff to do this day that we're living in.
Yeah.
And so I think this will have to be episode 2 for us, and I think it'll be the first sequel episode that we've done. But we all know that
We're here for it.
we can keep talking for another hours
Do this
easy.
shit all day.
Tell me about what you guys got going on, what people need to know, what's next steps, and how people can get a hold of you.
You're going to tell next steps for Royal?
So as far as how we do it, how we function, how we operate, that literally goes down to clarity, understanding, communication, and acknowledgement, right? And there's no, you have to have clarity on what you're doing. You have to have an understanding on how it's going to get done. You have to acknowledge the steps on both of those, and then you have to be able to move forward, right? And so with that, my biggest, probably one of my best things that I pride myself in, that I have the ability to do, is look at any situation and be able to pause it. No matter the chaos, no matter the bullshit, I often say it's like standing in the middle of a tornado of problems, right? And then you're just literally grabbing one and plugging it in, right? Well,
But you're in the eye.
Yeah, 100% you are. And sometimes it's overwhelming, right? But it's like, I'm whelmed, you know?
The appropriate amount of whelm.
Yeah.
It's a good place to be because the storm's clearing the path for you.
Yeah.
It's knocking, it's wasting out stuff that's not serving you any longer.
Yeah.
You can't move too fast.
Yeah.
You can't slow down.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
the goal
really
You
good.
can't stop, you know?
I love that.
The goal is to not continue to have the same storm, though, right? So, as you're going, it's like, okay, great, we're gonna take out this next item, right? We're not just gonna sit in the same spot in this tornado of bullshit. We're gonna, just like you said, it's steady movement.
Yeah.
on
And
the
it's
path.
all action.
It is 100%, but not all action is good action. So whenever you're standing in the middle of all these problems and all this bullshit and all this worry and concern, there's a couple things. One, you have to prioritize things. I write everything down, and then I'll write it down, I'll go through, I'll organize that, and then I'll look back through it again and see if I missed anything that's categorized within those subjects, right? And because a lot of things in life are dependent upon another thing. And so if you need to do one, but you're over here working on 4, now you have to come back to do 1. Well, then you go back to 4. Well, shit, you got to go back to 2, and then you go back to 4. Next thing, fuck around, put it in order. You know what I mean? The best you can. It's not always going to be perfect, but whenever you're in the middle of those storms and you're plugging it in, you grab another one and plug it in. If you don't plug that fucker all the way in, it's going to come back out and it's going to start hitting you in the face again. And then, so you want to make sure, boom, process. Document the process. Boom.
Don't just solve the problem
Yeah.
and
Oh,
move
problem.
on.
We did that for
Eliminate
years.
the problem from coming back up.
Yeah.
And you do that through processes and documentation
100%.
of standard operating procedures and making sure one person is responsible for that thing.
That's good.
To the people being at home. And so as you do that, you know, we've lost a gang of money. Like a lot of money.
In
But
the six figures.
yeah, but the cool thing
Seven.
You didn't lose it, it was
In
just
the
the cost
seven
of the
figures.
lesson.
yeah,
That's the expense you paid for that lesson, right? But
expensive
you've learned
lesson.
over time
Yeah.
to reduce the cost of your lessons.
well, we're learning. We're learning.
Yeah.
We're
It's a
growing.
journey.
It
Yeah.
is. What's our goal with Royal? And what are we gonna do?
So as you're going through that, you want to make sure that you're moving forward accordingly,
Yeah.
right? And you want to make sure that it goes back to having goals. You want to make sure to write your goals down. Some people say to write them down every night and every day and every time you get your ass kicked, right? So that way you're constantly being reminded of what it is. That's
Refocusing,
Yeah. And that's that way you're manifesting.
Yeah.
You're creating that into your reality. And so where we're going as a company, for Royal exactly, we're going nationwide. We're going nationwide and siding, windows, doors, storm shutters, and gutters. And all exterior, and that is the goal. 500 million is the next goal. We were like, oh, let's do, well, once we get to 1 million, our lives will change. Oh, once we get to 3 million, our lives will change. Oh, 5 is the magic number, right? Oh shit, 7's gonna change it all, right? And so this car is what I need. Got the car, got the dream. Our dream house is spot on, exactly what we wanted, right off a major highway, paved road to our house, manifesting. 100 acres, we wanted 100 acres, we ended up with like 102.
Yeah.
The house,
Overachievers.
fresh streams running through, got it, and we're like, okay, this sucks.
We lived there for a couple years. Yeah.
Like it's cool,
Loved it.
but at
Still
the
love
end of the day, it's not what we thought it was. The super sweet car we got, I was like, this is dope. 6 hours later, I'm like, this shit ain't no different. This is the same as the mini. I could sell in here the same as I could in the minivan.
Eventually, you're used to it. That amazing house is a house, and you got used to that car. Now it's a car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's always the next thing we're chasing, but
Yeah.
we're never actually living in the moment for success. So we said, okay, great, we hit all these other goals. It wasn't what we thought it was. So what I'm saying is, it's the journey that is the rewarding part. It is not the end goal.
Yeah.
You get to the end goal, and then what? Then you're stopped.
Yeah.
Then the anxiety starts to kick in.
Yeah, now-
Then all these fears start to kick in, because you could lose that.
Yeah.
So enjoy all
So,
the little
In the
things.
moment. Yeah.
100%. Be in the moment the very best that you can. It is extremely difficult to not worry about the past and create it again in the future. They say your story is already written only because you're so worried about the shit that's happened that you're creating it in your future, and so you're literally rewriting your own.
That's depression, that's anxiety.
Yeah.
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 If you want happiness and joy, it's right here.
Absolutely. So with Royal, the next goal is 500 million. She said, you go
Let's talk about
150 million to 500 million. Like, where's the gap? I'm like, we just fill that fucker.
Yeah.
The mountain's not there.
Yeah.
We know where we're going, and it's because it's big enough that it's like, shit, is that even possible? But whenever we just started, we didn't think $1 million was possible. They said a $5 million company was a small company. I'm like, that's fucking huge.
Yeah. Right.
You know, and now we're here, and I'm like, all right, I see what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Because you still don't have your shit together. You know what I mean? Like, you have to understand that you're not always going to have it together. You're never going to have it together. So with Royal, that's our goal. Nationwide, 500 million. It will happen. It's not a matter of
It ain't
if.
right.
It's a matter of when. And now all you got to do is compress time, right? So our real goal, what we really want.
Can we talk about Royal real quick? Because
Yeah.
I don't want to. No, I just want to have you let them know who is our ideal client, who do we serve with Royal, and then why are we different from every other exterior contractor that is out here?
Got it. So what we do at Royal, we've recently started a remodel division open again. So now we service homeowners, commercial, anything remodel in the entire Southeast. Okay. And then we also work with national builders and install windows and doors for them throughout the Southeast.
And hurricane shutters.
And hurricane shutters throughout the Southeast. And now we did that to be able to help the people. We got out of it for a while whenever all the chaos after the storm and then the inflation and all the stuff from COVID and all the chaos and shortages and like that shit was difficult. And so, but we realized there was still a miss. because people weren't for the homeowners, because people weren't taking care of them. They're still calling us. We're trying to vet out people to be able to refer them over to. It wasn't working, and so we're like, all right,
Somebody's got to step up.
How are we gonna?
It needs to be us.
And so we've got the systems, we've got the automations, we've got the processes, we've got the people, we have the integrity, right? And so we're like, okay, great, let's get back into this. Let's go. And now we're basically starting from scratch as of like December 31st. We're like, okay, yeah, December. Maybe it was January.
It was
2nd.
January.
Kind of hitting reset and heading in
Getting back into
different,
remodel for homeowners.
A whole new direction. But with that, so it's really starting an entire new company.
Yeah.
And that division.
Yeah.
Right? We haven't been out of that for 3 years.
Yep.
And so we have no lines in there. And so it's just getting lines out. Well, what happened?
Lines of communication, like with vendors, clients, we had kind of.
What happened? We said, we're going into remodel. What happened? We got a bunch of warranty calls. A bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
The devil's like, you sure, bro?
Yeah.
You sure you want to do this?
Yeah.
Because God's going to show you, and be your higher power, be whatever it is. But,
Keep going.
God is going to let you know what's possible.
That's right.
The devil's going to show you what you can see.
Yeah.
And so if you're literally focused on this problem, and this problem, and this problem, and this problem, and this problem, that's the devil toying with you.
Yeah.
You can't do this.
Trying to distract
Are
you.
you sure you want to do this? Remember all the money you lost? Remember all the late nights? Remember all the angry people? Why were people angry? People were angry because I didn't give the damn information. Okay, next.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I at a warranty call?
Yeah.
Oh, because the guys didn't seal this?
Yeah.
Okay, what do we do?
Seal it.
Boom, seal it.
Next.
Put a line in. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Make a video
Yeah.
on how to properly do this our way.
Mm-hmm.
Document the process. That way, no matter who
It
we
doesn't
plug
happen
in.
again.
Yep, boom, problem eliminated. What did we do here? Lack of communication to the homeowner. Oh.
And that really does make y'all different. That you are doing a thorough job answering the call, fixing things. When we all know there's plenty of those companies out there that don't do it right the first time, and you never hear from them again.
Yeah.
The Royal Exterior, I've used you guys
Yeah.
myself, and I can vouch for that myself. Anything else going on that the whole wide world and the interweb needs to hear?
Absolutely. So we're launching a new company here in just a few short weeks called Salt and Steel. Within that, we have our Salt of the Earth docu-series where people can see the transition from, him 12 years ago going to prison to where we are now, so people can see all of that. And then, or 13 years ago, I guess. And so, but with Salt and Steel, this company is geared towards couples in business, okay? And so we'll be coaching people on marriage, growing a business, and growing a business as a unified team. Because you see so many people, just as you said, people will, have a business, but then their spouse is doing something totally different. Or a lot of times when people do go into business together, either the business falls apart, or the marriage falls apart,
Or both.
or even both.
Yeah.
And it's so sad to see the thing that's supposed to create more life in their universe is destroying it all. So our goal is to teach people how to do that together as a unified team. So we have one-on-ones where we'll be coaching businesses specifically, just like here, one-on-ones. We'll be doing master classes via the internet, Zoom, where people can come in and we can give them our tools that we use and teach them some things, how to organize for their business and themselves, and a lot of other things. We'll also be doing events, seminars where, we bring in a couple hundred people to
That
start.
makes so much sense.
And then we're moving into we'll be doing couples retreats as well, and kind of going off campus to teach couples how to be together as couples, how to communicate and how to grow things together. So saltandsteel.us.
For the same reason why, I've always, for years, I've thought about you guys to have this conversation with you and on the show is the same reason why that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
So how do people get a hold of you? How did people reach out to you?
Saltandsteel.us.
Okay.
That's right.
And how do
Salt
people,
and steel.
when it comes to Royal Exterior, is there, what's the website?
royalexteriors.us.
Okay, that makes
That's
a lot of sense. Thanks so much for taking the time and the last second, but we made it happen.
Yeah.
And
so that's just the proof positive of when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, the universe just completely rearranges itself out.
And here we
this
are.
This is by far one of the best episodes we've done, I think.
Yeah.
It's on an awesome location with two amazing people and your story. Like we talk about our episodes about grabbing gold nuggets out of there. This is like nugget after nugget after nugget after nugget.
So many good
watch
gold
and
nuggets.
rewatch this episode over and over and over because
Great.
everything that they said is exactly what you need to do to be successful in business.
Awesome. We appreciate you guys.
The last thing I want to throw in there for people is there's a huge disconnect in the world on how to communicate, which is why there's so much tension and diversity.
Oh, you want to give this one last nugget? This is a good one. All
So
right.
It
Bonus nugget.
It literally changed the entire. Because I'm very, very competitive. I design.
so I'm more competitive.
I will win. Okay, but I always wanted to be right. I had to be right. Goes back to what I said earlier about how we will actually put steps in
Even if
place
it's not
right
good for
or
you.
wrong, even if it's not good for us, just to be right. And so whenever it came to my wife and it came to the business, I always wanted to be right. In business, I was open to being wrong because I wanted to learn. With my wife, I was not open to being wrong. She's always fucking right, and I wanted to be right. And so it was a constant battle. And then I learned the word and the definition of acknowledgement. That doesn't mean that I have to agree with her.
Right.
But I have to listen to her and not listen to one thing she said, one 4-word portion of the sentence that I wanted to grab onto, and I'm contemplating my reaction to
Running your whole story around
Yeah.
that one.
100%. And whenever she's like, "Do you listen to anything?" I said, "Yeah, I listened to everything you said." I was literally contemplating this whole thing based off the first portion of your sentence. But then you don't have to. Acknowledgement is not agreement. You are not agreeing with somebody. You're just listening to them and acknowledging what they're saying. I hear you. I got it. Thank you. You know, I say thank you for sharing.
A genuine acknowledgement, right? So somebody says something, even if you don't agree with it, people just need to know that you hear them.
Yeah.
And so the nugget he's trying to give you guys is, if somebody tells you something or you're communicating with somebody, don't just listen and say, "Yeah, but." Horrible. You completely did not acknowledge anything they said. So, listen to what they said. I totally get it. And I can see why you would be frustrated if that's the way that it happened for you, right?
Yeah.
You're not agreeing that that's the way that happened. You're not agreeing that, you don't have to defend yourself and, but blah, blah, blah. No, I totally get it. And if that's the way that you perceived that, I can completely understand why you're frustrated. Boom.
Yep.
That's it.
And then
You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to make up a reason why it happened. You don't have to, blah, blah, blah. That's it. It's done.
And then they're more. That is the only point whenever you'll actually get the other person to listen to you.
Yeah.
So I can talk to literally anybody. I don't care what side of the political field you're on. I don't care where you come from. I don't care about anything
I didn't know
else.
that about you.
Let's talk about the conversation. I'll listen to you. If I'm wrong, okay, great. But once I learned that acknowledging, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. I understand where you're coming from. Now, and then after this, and they're like, well, what do you think? Because now they know that they've been heard. And until that point, nobody's fucking listening to you.
That's
They're not listening to you.
That's so crucial with communicating. I mean, I feel like that's half the whole.
Try it.
Yeah.
Try it.
Well, never be afraid to stop mid-sentence. If you start saying something that's retarded as shit, and you're like, in sentence, you're like, that doesn't make any sense. But then you continue to say it, you're right. You know what I mean? Just stop. Start over. I do it all the time. Nobody looks at me. I'll be in the middle of a sale. Sitting with
You used to
homeowners.
think people were going to judge you if you didn't commit to the stupid sentence.
Yeah.
I've eliminated the word "but" from any
Yeah, I
communication
switched it to however.
to "and."
Way to go.
Yeah.
It's
So-
inclusive.
Yes.
This happened, and
Yes.
this is also happening. It's not a "but" and discounting everything before the "but."
Yeah.
That's right. 100%.
So that alone is going to take you miles down
Final
when it comes to communication. Guys, thanks for showing up. We're going to see you next time. It's a mission accomplished.
Choo-choo. Oh shit, hit him with the conductor.
Choo choo! I just thought about that. Hey, you gotta go.
Yeah.
You have to fly out of here.
Whenever I look before the show, yeah, likewise.
Eric, it was a pleasure.
Get out of here. Go make it happen, dude.
Yeah, let us
excited to
know,
meet with
man.
you guys
If you
again.
have any other ones, let us know.
Yeah. See how good that felt?